Greetings, my fellow freedom solving thinkers. Thank you for tuning to LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful realms of planet Earth. Today's date is Saturday, February 14th, 2026. This is episode 1938, 1761, when American independence was born. Before I proceed, you can find me on multiple social media sites and podcast channels. Just type in Looky Luck number 3, Looky Luck Roman number 3, 3 eyes, or Looky Luck Roman number 3 podcast. Furthermore, if you have any questions, comments, recommendations, and all that good stuff, whatever you do, please use decorum. Hit me via email to ll3.podcast@proton.me. If you're going to donate, go to paypal.me or cash.app/Loki Luck number 3. Oh, yes. I know I haven't done a show in a while. I was just trying to figure out what I was going to talk about. There's just so many things are happening and everyone's following the trends. You know, I haven't really talked about the Epstein files, but I've been addressed the topic in the past on human sex trafficking, molestation, piracy, on victims, women, children, even men, boys. Now it's all being a little bit more exposed, and a lot of folks are wigging out. They even call people like myself a conspiracy theorist. Remember, theory has merit, my friends. So when you guys call someone a theorist, a conspiracy theorist, you're telling them, hey, it's a more of a compliment instead of an insult. And of course, you got bands like there saying F-ICE, F-ICE. I like to ask them, are you pro-Club of Rome? One World Order, etc. And don't get me wrong, there's even reports that ICE agents are being trained in Israel through the IDF, which the Anti-Defamation League, you can say, have invite other police units from cities flow to Israel and do the same thing. So there's merit to that, in good faith. And of course, you have the other side of being hired, as usual, sacrificial lambs being hurt, killed, or injured. Even mothers bringing their babies in these ordeals. That's pretty damn stupid and non-Sun Tzu material. Art of War 101. So I remember the time, I'm not calling myself an activist expert or anything like that. I've been to rallies, protests, and so forth. You always got to know your perimeter, your surroundings. You don't just walk in and get trapped like a rat. Never let emotion supersede logic. But sometimes it really gets to me on some of these idiots. Doesn't matter what side of the paradigm you're on. And of course, the Lacanian fetish. All these Lincolnites out there like to complain about one man for everything because they don't even have a clue, can't even wipe their own rear ends. They believe, oh, get rid of one person, we'll be free. Yay! Oh, man. And they're being played as well. All these folks getting brainwashed, being herd conformists. I want to wear a cowbell around my neck and to represent walking antimatter. Am I cool and trendy? Yeah. Know where my dog's been running around here. So if you hear him in the back. Good boy. I love him. I just go on and on and on. And of course, you got folks in government believe in anti-natural rights. And some folks believe that we should have red flag laws where we live. Yeah, so go get yourself an abandoned raft, get a map to Cuba, and head down over there. If you want to be catered to, pampered, have the government tell you how to live, think, wipe your own rear end, right? Don't tell me how to do that. As far as I'm concerned, you're a treasonous quack. Banner Garner's more crazy than you ever be. And I digress. You're talking about the economic collapse. So, and you're going to blame one man for that? The Trump administration for that? You're delusional. You're not paying attention. If you do. Some of these folks, how they got their adulthood, their favorite show, their Church of the Show, Get a Life by Gary Elliott. Remember that show on Fox? Absolutely. 30-year-old paper boy? Stop. Yeah, my dog wants to play, but not yet. Nope. Stop. I'm doing a show. Over there. So what else is happening with you folks? Hopefully everyone's out there trying to decentralize and prepare. And they're gonna, of course, going to have opportunists out there going to use capitalism. It's capitalism. We have to have a socialist form of government. We need the government to say, yes, master. When they say, bend over, we go, how far, please? I know there was a facility in Miami, right in the heart of the alleged around the Cuban community. They had this place, a wall, praising all the commies and socialists and so forth. Just call it the Marxonian outhouse. I would. What the hell? Or the Jacobin outhouse, you know? Just go there and defecate it, metaphorically speaking. Mock them. 7-bar Palmolive soap while you're at it. But just what can we say, right? Don't be a whiner. Be a doer. There's folks out there talking about, oh, we're screwed. Okay, so put your head in the sand. What are you going to do about it? So you're going to stagnate? Complain? Should have had vision a long time ago. We all go through obstacles one way or the other. I'm not saying I'm better than you. No, absolutely not. I like to see folks spiritually thrive and have a prosperous life. Yep, and they want that order real bad, right? A lot of insanity stuff as usual. So, well, I want to be narrating an article that came out yesterday from the 10th Amendment Center. It was written by Mike Meharry. Always enjoy his work. 1761, when American independence was born. It came out yesterday. It was his birthday, too. Man, he's, 65. Woo, good grief. All right. Categories, American Revolution, founding principles, James Otis. American independence was then and there born. John Adams wasn't talking about July 4th, 1776, and the Declaration of Independence. He was referring to the beginning of the real American Revolution that kicked off years earlier in February 1761. That was when James Otis Jr. delivered a fiery 5-hour speech rallying against the writs of assistance. While the Declaration of Independence was a seminal moment in the Revolution, it was the culmination of more than 15 years of radical changes in the minds and the hearts of the people that started with Otis' speech. Background. As the 7 Years' War dragged on, Parliament found itself struggling under enormous levels of debt. In an effort to increase revenue, the British started strictly enforcing various long-standing mercantilist laws referred to by the colonists as acts of trade and navigation, while aggressively cracking down on smuggling and enforcing tax collection. To crack down on tax evasion and undermine the thriving black market, British customs agents relied on writs of assistance. These were essentially open-ended general warrants authorizing the holder to search businesses and private homes for smuggled goods. The writs of assistance did not require any specifications about the place to be searched or what types of goods the agents were looking for. They were also transferable from one agent to another and could be used repeatedly for different searches. They were used as a substitute for specific search warrants and didn't expire until 6 months after the king died. Then came to a head when that happened. King George II died in 1760, meaning all the writs tied to his reign expired. When custom officials in Massachusetts tried to obtain new writs under King George III, it created a procedural opening to challenge the validity of writs before they were reissued, and put into constant use. The colonialists believe the court should refuse to issue new writs because they were general warrants and exceptionally intrusive. With the door open to take on the rich, colonial merchants filed suit against customs officers Charlie Paxton. The case landed in Massachusetts Superior Court, presided over by Chief Justice Thomas Hutchinson. James Otis Jr. served as an advocate general in the Vice Admiralty Court. With the writs of assistance controversy coming to a head, he resigned his position and agreed to represent the Boston merchants. And he did so free of charge in a letter to William Tudor. John Adams said great fees were offered, but Otis insisted, in such a cause, I despise all fees. The speech, instead of merely arguing the case from a technical standpoint, Otis attacked the very constitutionality of the writs. In another letter to William Tudor, Adams said, Otis demonstrated the illegality, the unconstitutionality, the inquiry, and inhumanity of what wit is in so clear in a matter that every man appeared to me to go away ready to take arms against it. Otis opened his salvo against the writs by characterizing them as the writ of instrument of arbitrary power, the most destructive English liberty and the fundamental principles of law that was ever found in an English law book. A year later, Otis explained exactly what he meant by arbitrary power, saying in plain English, it means no more than to do as one pleases. The idea that Parliament was exercising arbitrary power became a common refrain in the years leading up to the Declaration of Independence. It was often referred to as a usurpation or theft of power. In fact, the Declaration refers to the list of objectionable actions taken by the British, not as grievances, but as injuries and usurpations. In other words, it was a list of grievances related to exercise of arbitrary power. Otis argued that this exercise of arbitrary power sanctioned by writs of assistance trampled on one of the most essential branches of English liberty, the freedom of one's house, and he famously declared, a man's house is his castle, adding that while he is quiet, he is well guarded as a prince in his castle. Writs of assistance, Otis argued, totally annihilate that privilege. Otis went on to declare that reason and the Constitution are both against this writ, and he asked a rhetorical question. Where are they authorized by law? Let's see what authority there is for it. Not more than one instance can be found of it in all of our law books. By virtue of their unconstitutionality, Otis called the writs void. In other words, they didn't exist as a matter of law. He insisted no acts of Parliament can establish such a writ. Through it should be made in the very words of the petition. This was the root of every colonial objection to British authority that would ultimately lead to independence of the British government, was exercising power that it didn't constitutionally possess. Otis hammered this point time, declaring that such acts were not law at all. An act against the Constitution is void. Otis went beyond the constitutional ramifications, arguing all these acts to be null and void by the law of nature as well as by the American charters, because America was not represented in Parliament. We don't have a full transcript of the long speech, as Adams pointed out. Reconstructing the whole speech was impossible. No man could have written from memory Mr. Otis's argument for 4 or 5 hours in length against the acts of trade considered as revenue laws and against writ of assistance as tyrannical engines to carry them into execution. However, Adams noted that Otis went on to examine the acts of trade one by one, demonstrating that if they were considered as revenue laws, they destroyed all our security of property, liberty, and life. every right of nature, and the English Constitution and the Charter of Province. Natural rights. Otis rooted his entire argument in natural rights dating back to the Magna Carta. Continuing his correspondence with William Tudor, John Adams summarized his speech, highlighted Otis's natural rights arguments. He asserted that every man merely natural was an independent sovereign, subject to no law but the laws written on his heart and revealed to him by his maker in the constitution of his nature and the inspiration of his understanding and his conscience. Otis gave it a nod to John Locke's natural rights theory, insisting that a man's right to his life, his liberty, no created being could rightfully contest, nor was his right to his property less incontestable. Significantly, these natural rights were the foundation of the British system, wrought into the English Constitution as fundamental laws. As such, they weren't negated simply because a person moved from England to a British colony. Those fundamental rights traveled with them. Our ancestors as British subjects and we their descendants and the British subjects were entitled to all those rights by the British Constitution as well as by the law of nature and our provincial charter, good grief, as much as any inhabitant of London or Bristol or any part of England, and were not to be cheated out of them by the phantom of virtual representation or any other fiction of law or politics or any monkish trick of deceit and hypocrisy. Conclusion. At the time, nobody imagined that a long speech during a legal proceeding would light the fire of revolution. That's exactly what James Otis Jr. did. Adams certainly believes this is to be the case. He called Otis a flame of fire. That's what he said here, with a promptitude of classical allusions, a depth of research, a rapid summary of historical events and dates, a profusion of legal authorities, a prophetic glance of his eyes, not futurity, and a rapid torrent of impetuous, eloquence. He hurried away all before him. Otis did more than attack the writs. He laid the philosophical groundwork that would birth independence, articulate the constitutional argument supporting the colonial cause. Adams said he did so with power and conviction and comprehensive knowledge. He showed not only the illegality of the writ, its insidious and mischievous tendency, but he laid open the views and designs of Great Britain of taxing us, of destroying our charters and assuming as the power of our government, legislative, executive, and judicial, external and internal, civil and ecclesiastical, temporal and spiritual. The speech spread a revolutionary fervor throughout the crowd of onlookers. As the news on the speech got out, the flames of revolution began to spread. As Adams described it, every man of an immense crowded audience appeared to me to go away, as I did, ready to take arms against the writ of assistance. He went on to call Otis's stance in the courtroom at the start of American Revolution, calling it the scene of the first act of opposition to arbitrary claims of Great Britain. Taking it further, Adams recognized that American independence wasn't born in 1776. It was right there in 1761. Then and there, child independence was born. In 15 years, i.e. in 1776, he grew up to manhood and declared himself free. Interesting. So it's really nothing new under the sun, right? It always goes on, cycles and all that stuff. And we're hitting it again. When I study some history now and then, what we're observing in these United States is more like the 1850s era. Politically speaking, mudslinging, calling people out, all that. But we gotta always look at the one thing, folks. Factions destroy liberty. Noah Webster gave us a warning on that. And, of course, George Washington's farewell address. Centralization is dangerous under Andy Feller's Papers 1. It's always good to know these things because if you don't learn from the past, we're damned to repeat it. Don't have to listen to the bobbleheads, the beakers, and all these other goofballs out there that have a better solution. Wants to give us a handout. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Now we gotta earn our respect. That's how you build character. Earn your things. Don't be like little privileged little hacks that think we should all kiss the floor you walk on. It's irrelevant, inapplicable, and void, as far as I'm concerned. So James Otis Jr. gave us the inspiration, and we need to keep that torch of liberty lit. Don't let it get extinguished. Don't be a whiner, a crybaby. Tell about how your life is so bad. Like I said, we all went through obstacles in different avenues. It's how you pursue. Better yourselves. There's folks in my demographics right now don't even got a pot to urinate in. They all want to point the finger, but they can't look at themselves. That's why individuals like that, I don't really talk to them as much. Because it's a waste of energy. Not trying to be too judgmental. But your actions speak louder than words. Well, think liberty over tyranny, my friends. And no such thing as this day and age, belly up to the state is patriotic. No, it's treasonous, as far as I'm concerned. Don't usurp us. Try to do that to other people, you're just the enemy of humanity. Well, that's just my intake on this. That will be it. I'd thank everyone for listening, plus feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, all that good stuff, whatever you do, please use decorum. Hit me via email to ll3.podcast@proton.me. If you don't donate for the PayPal me or cash.app/look3. If you want to support the 10th Amendment Center, donate, subscribe. I don't know about subscribe, but buy their merchandise. Listen to their shows. That'd be very cool. Educate yourselves and see things more thoroughly. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.